It's been a couple of years since I brought anime back to this show, and the last time I talked about something, it was Art of Fighting, a 45-minute snore fest that took probably 2 years to actually watch than the film's allotted runtime.
Not to dwell on the game itself for too long, that might be a topic for another day, it was one of the PlayStation launch titles as kind of an answer to Virtua Fighter and was marketed as a Saturn killer. The Saturn died for many reasons. I can assure you Battle Arena Toshinden was not one of them. Sophia, Toshinden's whip-wielding female lead, was being marketed as a PlayStation spokesman during that period where Sony psyched her through various attempts to coin a mascot. The problem was, despite its ambition, Battle Arena Toshinden was about as fun to play as smashing your fingers in the hinge side of a wooden solid core door. The first two games didn't really steer away from the formula that wasn't working, and by the time they tried to change things by the third game, Soul Edge, Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, and Tekken had already offered more than Toshinden's rickety and rather dated gameplay, characters, and themes.
I think the best way to experience Battle Arena Toshinden is on the Sega Saturn, with Battle Arena Toshinden Remix and Battle Arena Toshinden Aura, enhanced versions of the original games that include story points, extra characters, and a couple of other features.
Battle Arena Toshinden does have the distinction of being not only Central Park Media's first ever DVD release, but it's also the United States' first dual audio disc. It's pretty impressive that something that we take as commonplace and mostly for granted today was something that a studio celebrated back in 1997.
I own the 2003 re-release, which has better picture quality, but I'm not really a fan of the box art with the goofy, snarling characters. Really wish they'd stuck with the artwork for the VHS copy. It's much more preferable and easier to present.
Battle Arena Toshinden's protagonist is Soul Bad Guy Eiji Shinjo, who does what most anime characters based off of video games did in the mid-90s. Ride motorcycles.
This is such a desolate place now.
Eiji sums up a great deal of the shortcomings that I have with Battle Arena Toshinden. If you think Ryu is boring, this guy is the Shotokan warrior on Zoloft. And yeah, Street Fighter 2V at least made Ryu kind of a bumbling nutcase, which made him interesting. But Eiji, there's nothing to him. He's got the personality of lukewarm dishwater. He spends most of this OVA just sort of muttering to himself about his brother, speaking in the same monotone voice. He hits all of the generic benchmarks of a fighting game protagonist and does none of them particularly well.
I'd never want you as my enemy. I know what you mean.
Speaking of his brother, Sho, who spent the cold opening destroying high-grade military equipment on a nationally televised broadcast, slowly begins to take out the Toshin warriors one by one. One would think that these fighters' intuition would go off and they would begin coordinating and communicating with each other when someone who's gone missing for as long as they have suddenly shows back up and is launching attack on the federal government. But hey, let's just sit off to the side and let them ambush us.
One of the things I take pleasure in is seeing little children smile.
Oh, don't tempt me with such low-hanging fruit. I'm not that strong of a man.
Another thing I take pleasure in is seeing these covered with blood. To think that you and I would meet here.
Alright, fine. Don't finish your thought. I guess we're fighting now.
Careful, old fool.
What?
Is this the extent of your power?
You watch your tongue!
Like this!
It can't be! He's using my technique!
In hindsight, spamming the same attack was probably the easiest way to give him an opening and was a terrible strategy. Yeah!
Plot-wise, this OVA picks up from where the first game ends and immediately jumps into the second, recapping the Toshin finals between Eiji and Gaia before the Secret Society interrupts.
I think I got it. How'd they get here? Gaia, no fair!
So sorry to disturb you.
Chaos.
You're using the Toshin tournament to recruit the best fighters so you can lead them against our organization.
Your deductive skills are admirable.
I don't mind this, really. It keeps the pacing consistent, and it keeps focus on the centralized characters. It does kind of come at the expense for not leaving much of the other characters to do, but hell, it's better than giving somebody a one-scene cameo.
Gaia!
Eiji, train yourself well. Only then can our true battle begin.
While the Sword Bros Eiji and Kaien catch up and reminisce about the good old days, more attacks are being issued by the Secret Society as they continue their assault on the Toshin tournament contenders, this time going after Mondo and Rungo Iron.
I can take him. Mustn't see my enemy with my eyes, must feel him in my heart. I'll use the Choriki Daibutsu Metsu and defeat him with one blow. Choriki Daibutsu Metsu!
Homeboy spent all his meter at the beginning of the round. Seems like a skill issue. Meanwhile, at the ominous building with an unfinished side quest, more attacks on the Toshin fighters commence as Rungo is captured by the Uranus' secret society and pitted against their bloodthirsty warrior Chaos, the lab rat for their heinous experiments.
So, how is our test subject?
See for yourself, Lady Uranus.
Work hard and improve, Chaos, and you will become my worthy servant. And continue your work as well. Show.
In due time, I should really get this eye looked at.
You know, I can't remember when I started paying attention to the fact that almost every primary antagonist for a fighting game franchise generally involved a shady technological corporation bent on using fighters to create the world's deadliest weapon.
Okay, I get the method. I love my fair share of mad science, but I would love to get a kick out of the negotiating tables of world leaders and dictators being sold on MMA fighters over laser-guided drones and high-capacity tanks to fortify their military.
Yeah, sure. Your uranium deposits are impressive. But this gentleman over here, he can air juggle a cyborg at 48% unscaled damage. I'll take him, the teenage girl with the chainsaw and arms, the boxing kangaroo, and the gentleman with the purple psycho energy. Finally, the Democratic Federalist Republic of Carbomia will be taken seriously on the world stage.
Once Eiji and Kaien get wind of the attack on Rungo, they snap into action.
How could they do this to someone as tough as Rungo? Yeah, if the organization's really on the move, then... Sophia! They'll be moving against her, too.
Great, this OVA is dragging in its first act and then they show us soccer. So Eiji decides to meet up with his good friend Sophia, probably the only reason why anybody knows what this franchise is. Sophia is a Russian detective who was formerly an agent of the secret society who had her memory wiped clean, so essentially she's an even more vanilla version of Nina Williams.
We have created a killing machine with regenerative powers beyond anything imaginable. Gentlemen, I give you the Man-Machine Project.
Oh. If you're open for critique, that name doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
Yes, about that. I was intending to call them the Manchines, but I'm currently in the middle of fighting a copyright over that.
Miss Uranus, I must admit, your powers are remarkable.
Thank you very much.
Eiji spends some time catching up with his friend and to warn her that the secret society might be after her. But get ready for a surprise, she's mentally controlled by Uranus. This sequence actually boasts the best fight in this entire OVA.
here? Who's controlling her?
After using the power of friendship to break Uranus's hold on Sophia, Akuma attack. Shadow the Hedgehog. Show attacks.
Today you realize your dream, AG.
Sophia!
Sophia!
A brief battle of the brothers rages on as the two swordsmen clash very briefly before Sho gets the upper hand.
It's all over, AG. You will die by my hand, as you dreamed.
Sophia attempts to intervene, but one-hit KO Sho knocks her out with one shot, channeling his inner Geese Howard.
One more shot and I'll finish you off once and for all.
Wait.
What was that orchestra hit? Is a Hal Needham movie starting? Following a very brief skirmish, these fights really don't last all that long, Uranus dispatches the prototype man-machine project, and she leaves with some ominous words.
Everything has gone just as I had planned. Creating the man-machine android in the form of your brother resulted in heightening your emotions to levels I've never seen before. I use Sophia for the same reason. It's so easy to manipulate you through your emotions. You're just an amateur.
What do you want from me?
That's for me to know.
You helped me once. Remember? You chased those brats.
So with some banal pacing and some rather insipid fights, our boogeyman for the first episode has been defeated, but our main threat has been established. AG and Sophia recover, the secret society has their data, and now both sides are planning their next move. And that next move involves targeting Ellis. Hooray. This character's now in this. Ellis is Gaia's daughter, and the secret society wants to target her in order to lure him out. What's the best way to describe Ellis? A character that's supposed to come off as kawaii overload is actually the anime equivalent of chewing on acetaminophen tablets.
But sir, what's gonna happen if I mess up?
I believe in your talent. You should begin to believe in yourself, too.
Yes, you're right. I'll do my best.
Ellis! Hello.
Huh? Kayan's back! Welcome back!
Alice.
Oh well, but I'll never give up!
Episode 2 kicks off with AG and Kayan warning Ellis about the Beast Machines project, and the animation's taken a noticeable nosedive in quality. The character designs and details are all over the place, choppy frames are poorly covered up by the gratuitous abuse of impact flashes. It's visibly lazy. And I'm a fan of Lisa Ortiz, but Ellis's voice is audio poison.
Well, that's just fine. How come they didn't come looking for any data about me?
I guess they don't think your data is worth too much. Yep, I bet AG's right.
Now what was that?
I didn't mean it. We didn't mean to say that you were weak. It's just that the other guys they went after are just different, you know? yeah, that's right, just different.
Please clap.
So Chaos shows up to intercept Ellis.
You are the bait to lure Gaia right into my trap.
My father?
We cannot forgive his betrayal, so now he must be executed.
I'm sorry, can we do another take on that? I completely flubbed that line.
Don't bother, we got it.
What was that? Some sort of joke?
Okay, that was funny. Clearly overmatched by the Secret Society super soldier, try saying that 3 times fast, it looks like things are dire for young Ellis. However, AG and Kaon outsmarted Chaos's outsmarting, and they get the drop on him.
We got to thinking that instead of hunting randomly for your hideout, it would be faster to set a trap for you here.
And you fell for it, just like we knew you would.
I see. You two must be AG and Kaya. Give up the hideout and we might let you live.
Why don't you make me?
Why, you...
Given some credit where it's due, I like the fact that chaos throughout this entire OVA has been presented as a nearly imposing and unstoppable force that the heroes can't quite get around. He's pretty much got the edge over both AG and Gaia, and even Gaia can't really seem to get the best of him. Which kind of makes the final battle all that much more anticlimactic. More on that a little bit later. So, when the ambush of the ambush of the ambush goes awry, Gaia and Chaos have a very brief skirmish before an attempt to take out Gaia results in Ellis getting poisoned.
Well, no matter. I've achieved what I've set out to do.
What's that?
Those throw blades are poison. The antidote is rare, and it is known only by the organization. If you want to save her, you'll have to come with us.
You monster!
Giving Chaos a chance to escape.
I don't buy any of this. There's something very weird about this case.
But certainly not a case too difficult for the Blue 7 Boob Police. Man, certainly hope that's Velcro holding that badge there. This is Tracy from Battle Arena Toshinden 2, introduced with 2/3 of this OVA's runtime nearly complete. Pretty much here to recreate another scene where a hard-boiled cop grills our fighting game protagonist, because I needed to be reminded of Art of Fighting again. Lucia, she is not.
And that nobody's ever seen before. And even if I believe that bit about fighting a stray dog off, I'm betting it wasn't your run-of-the-mill street fight.
But this is what I mean. Characters just kind of show up with very little in the way of introduction. I understand that you kind of need a little bit of a centralized plot, so cameos are one thing, but we're trying to give undue importance on people who really have just been on the screen for about 8 seconds.
Take care of my daughter.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Gaia!
You've done very well, Chaos.
So the runtime is getting low here, and Uranus's final plan of installing Chaos with all of the game genie codes is complete, so that kind of leaves her with nothing to do for the rest of the movie.
But we've got the data on his fighting techniques now. Once we've loaded an opponent's data into you, any attack will be turned back instantly.
The only thing that's left is for the heroes to plan their assault on the secret society.
Plans for similar attacks in the future.
You mean...
Yeah. That attack was just a demonstration of the power of the Man-Machine project. And the man trying to stop it is that girl's father.
And now they're using Ellis here as a pawn, in an attempt to lure him back to their hideout.
Those dirty. Let's go crash that hideout.
That's just the thing. We can't find the hideout.
I know where it is.
Why, by the power of plot contrivance, of course.
Who are...
It's you!
Sophia!
If you want to go, I will guide you.
But how do you know?
When Uranus took control of me before, I was able to see her thoughts. I know where it is.
The only thing that's left is for the heroes to plan their assault on the secret society.
No, Sophia. Is it? I don't think it's subtle enough. It could be a Tim Hortons. It could be a Skyline. There's absolutely no possible way that those two gigantic structures can't possibly be the base of the secret society. What are they thinking? They're making Megatron's temporary hideout look subtle.
That's a surprise. Gaia launching a preliminary attack?
It's not a surprise. It's exactly what you wanted him to do. You also left everybody else who competed in the Toshin tournaments alive, including having the upper hand on both AG and Kyan when Chaos attacked, and you also got rid of Sho, your own Man-Machine project, so you diminished your own ranks. Uranus, you suck! So you do get a neat scene with the other characters who were taken out by the android show earlier reappearing to perform their signature attacks, and some of the other characters that got no screen time, like Duke.
Yeah, we can handle these guys. The two of you get going. And don't forget, if anyone's going to beat you, it will be me.
Eiji Shinjo, the first anime Wojak. So it's right around this time where it hits me that this OVA drags, and then at the same time feels like, it's over. Mostly because with Sho, the great adversary of the first episode, being dispatched at the end, you don't really have much to look forward to. Sure, there's Chaos and Uranus, but there's a good chance that there's only going to be time to fight for one of them, and Chaos has been treated as the primary threat. It's Mortal Kombat Annihilation Syndrome, where if you're not familiar with the games, you're not going to care about all these personalities that are just dumped on you.
Anyway!
Something's coming.
Look, there's something very different about these guys!
No doubt they're the man machines everyone's been talking about. Let's get them!
The final battle isn't even really all that long. The whole idea that Chaos would learn their attacks and immediately be able to circumvent them almost feels undercut because they just sort of do the same attacks that you saw them do earlier.
Eiji! Yeah. All right. The star of the show has arrived!
Be careful. He knows what our moves are before we make them.
What's so tough, then? Just give them something they never expect! Shoulder crush! Hey, that's my move! Gaia! Attack him using someone else's technique!
It's a temporary solution. Once he absorbs the data, we'll be helpless once again.
And despite that claim, Eiji defeats Chaos using the exact same super attack he used on the dummy show earlier. So much for that data Uranus gained.
Let's check and checkmate!
Call me Queen! Now, who else wants a taste of my whip? I guess something made them lose their appetites.
And that's it. Chaos is defeated. Oh yeah, the real Sho sabotages things off screen.
It's Sho! My brother!
Uranus, I cannot allow you to make any more defective copies of me.
You'll pay.
Uranus flies away, setting up something else in the future, and that really is a wrap. Ellis is given the antidote, and Gaia goes back to being an absentee father.
I'm sorry, but after Gaia gave us the antidote, he took off and disappeared once again.
But don't feel bad. I'm sure you'll see him again soon.
You're right! I know he'll be back! I know it!
Toshinden overall shares a lot in common with the game it's based on. It's an easier watch than Art of Fighting or Darkstalkers, but it's overall just kind of very colorful.
Whereas Masami Obari's directorial touch complemented the Fatal Fury characters to a T, that same magic isn't replicated here with the really lackadaisical Battle Arena Toshinden characters. It's not Tekken the animated movie bad, and there's just enough cheese in here to keep it more interesting than the Art of Fighting OVA, but there really is very little else that kind of pulls through. It feels sleepy and mostly forgettable in lots of spaces. I think its greatest problem is that it doesn't take too many creative liberties, and it follows the game a little too closely, and the game's plot isn't really all that good in the first place. And even as a vehicle to sell the video game, that comes up flat.
So hey, if you're a Toshin fan, I guess you could just be happy that you got an anime representation. I mean, it's not god-awful, but maybe being forgettable is probably worse off.
Got it!